What exactly is forgiveness? When we say this morning that we must forgive, what do we mean by that? And we mean two things. First of all, when we talk about forgiveness, we're talking about a transaction between two parties. Okay, we have two parties over here. We have party A and we have party B. And let's say, for the sake of our illustration, that party A over here has sinned against party B. Party A here has done something so that the Christian fellowship that ordinarily they would share together because they're Christians, there's a barrier, there's something that has come between them now because of person A's sin. We'll just say that he has a burden represented by this book. Person A has sinned against person B and now has a burden. But they're a Christian. And so as a Christian, they become convicted of their sin, and so therefore they ask forgiveness of the one that they have offended. Because you remember, forgiveness is a two-party transaction. It's important to remember that because it's two-party. It's not just one party, it's two-party. And a transaction means that there's something that takes place between the two of them. And so when party A comes to party B and says, "Forgive me for my sin," now the burden has been shifted to party B. Party B now has a responsibility in this transaction. That's why party A doesn't just say, "I'm sorry." I mean, you can say, "I'm sorry." Hopefully you are sorry. But party B can't do anything with sorry. But if party B has been asked to grant forgiveness, now party B can grant forgiveness and is responsible before the Lord and before their brother or sister to grant forgiveness and must extend forgiveness in order for the burden to be removed. So remember, when we say forgiveness, we are talking about a two-party transaction in order for the burden to be relieved. Now, second thing we mean by forgiveness is not only a two-party transaction, but it is a threefold promise. So when party B over there says that they forgive party A, in forgiving them, they are in essence making a threefold promise. And here it is. First part of the promise: I will not review it with you. Okay, so if I've forgiven you, I'm not going to keep holding what you did over your head. I'm not going to keep reminding you about the pain that you caused me. I'm not going to review it with you anymore. I'm not like going to take it and kind of bank it for a time when I'm going to need it in the future. Oh, yeah, remember when you did such and such? No. There's no banking. I'm not going to review it with you. Number two, I'm not going to review it with others. I'm not going to talk to others about what I have forgiven you for. I'm not going to talk to others about the pain that I experienced. I forgive. So I make a promise that not only will I not review it with you anymore, I'm not going to hold it over your head, but I'm not going to talk to others. And then number three, this is the hardest part of the promise. It's a threefold promise. It's not only will I not review it with you, not only will I not review it with others, but I'm making the commitment that I'm not going to review it with myself. Now, there's where we have to practice forgiveness. That's probably the most difficult part of forgiveness, because every time I start to want to passively start thinking about that incident, and I want to start thinking about that pain, and I want to start remembering the difficulty that it was for me and everything that happened in that, and I want to start to stew on that and to think about that and to meditate on that, forgiveness says, no, I will not review it myself. So in that moment, when I start to passively listen to my sinful thinking, I have to actively rebuke it. I have to actively preach the gospel to myself. I say, no. Be tender-hearted, forgiving one another, as God on Christ's account has forgiven me. Because what we are saying is, the pain that was caused by that sin, the pain that was caused by the incident that produced a barrier in this fellowship over here, that pain was suffered by Christ sufficiently. And it is not right for me as a Christian to say, I'm going to add to the atonement of Jesus by making you suffer longer for what happened as a result of that sin. I am not going to put myself in the place of Christ and try to make further payment, see that further payment is made for the offense. No, by God's grace, I'm going to practice forgiveness, and I won't review it with myself. So, when Paul here says forgiveness, he's talking about a two-party transaction. Both parties are involved. Both parties have a responsibility. And he's talking about a threefold promise. Won't review it with you, others, not even myself.